Alright, so we just finished watching the last episode, so we're just gonna hop right into the next one. So welcome back, guys, to another video of Sith history. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. I don't know why that was kind of a tongue twister for me there. So in the last two episodes, we learned about Darth Revan, Malak, Bastila Shan, and how the two Dark Lords created their own Sith Empire, but also what made it different from the last few empires. So Revan and Malak had a reputation of being heroes from the Mandalorian Wars, and they pretty much succeeded where the Republic and the Jedi failed. So that's why when they turned over, they rallied so much support, like having so many defectors and having so many even Jedis and top military officers join them, because as I just said, they succeeded where everyone else failed. So that's why. And it was really amazing to see, and it gave a lot of memories of playing Knights of the Old Republic back then. It was a long time ago when I played that game, but just seeing those graphics and just mentioning a few names, some memories just popped up, parts of the mission and some characters here and there. So it was really amazing to see. But I'm really excited for this next video because on the thumbnail there are 3 Siths that I'm really interested in learning and I really love. The Sith Triumvirate. I don't know why I always have a difficult time saying it. So Darth, Treya, and I apologize if I'm saying so. Nihilus and Sion. Those 3 are really amazing and really cool Siths. I mean, I know their powers and their abilities, and it is just amazing. And I prefer those 3 over everyone in episodes 7 through 9 of Star Wars, because that ain't it. They just made Rey powerful for no reason, no training, nothing, no backstory, nothing. I prefer them making movies of the Old Republic era instead of those. I mean, no way. So without anything else, let's get into it.
In our last video on the history of the Sith, we discussed the Jedi Civil War and the fall of Darth Revan's Sith Empire. We discussed how beyond all hope, Revan was redeemed and slew Darth Malak, his former apprentice, helping the Republic crush the Sith at the Battle of Rakata Prime. Thus, the Jedi Civil War ended in a Republic victory, but this victory was a Pyrrhic one. The Republic was left on the verge of collapse. The Jedi Order was nearly destroyed, and though the Jedi Civil War destroyed the Sith Empire, the Sith themselves had survived. In the years that followed, they would regroup and wage a shadow war against the Jedi. A war
that's cool
they
looking
nearly
Sith.
won.
Wow.
In this video, we'll be telling its story.
The Sith Triumvirate.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
In the last episode, we discussed the unique structure of Revan's empire, that of a strictly hierarchical military alliance over which the Sith had complete control. Under Revan and Malak, this structure allowed the Sith to conquer a third of the Republic, but after the Battle of Rakata Prime, the whole system collapsed. At Rakata Prime, the Sith not only lost the Starforge, but also Darth Malak, all of the highest ranking Sith apprentices in Darth Jedi, Admiral Varko and the leading commanders of the Sith Armada, and a huge portion of the Sith fleet. The entire senior leadership of the Sith Empire was wiped out. In the wake of this catastrophic defeat, the Sith did what they did best. They destroyed each other. The Sith Empire plunged into a civil war of its own, fracturing under the leadership of warlords and would-be Dark Lords of the Sith. Over the course of just a year, the Sith Empire disintegrated and the Republic rapidly reclaimed nearly all of its lost territory. By 3955 BBY, a year after the Battle of Rakata Prime, the Republic military had pushed all the way into the heart of Sith space, planning to lay siege to Korriban and snuff out what remained of the Sith. But they found the planet lifeless.
The Republic always bounces back.
The city of Dresde had been abandoned, and the Sith Academy was in ruins. From the Sith corpses that littered the planet, the Republic determined that the Sith had wiped themselves out, though they found evidence that at least one Sith Lord had escaped Korriban and fled deep into the Outer Rim. The Sith Empire, the Republic arrogantly concluded, had ceased to exist. But the Republic's troubles weren't over yet. It barely survived the Jedi Civil War, as had the Jedi Order itself, and it struggled to rebuild. The redeemed
cool knowing that
Revan
there was a
could have
Jedi
helped
Civil
give the
War.
Republic a hero to rally
Because usually
around
the Civil
would
Wars are with
disappear,
Sith.
heading into the unknown regions in search of a terrible threat that he had begun to remember. And though the Sith Empire had indeed been destroyed, the Sith themselves had not. After the fall of Korriban, they had fled to the most remote reaches of Sith space, and the strongest among them gathered on a lonely world far from the Republic's reach. They came to Malachor V, the last battlefield of the Mandalorian Wars, where their order took a new form. At the end of the Mandalorian Wars, Malachor V was destroyed by the Mass Shadow Generator, a Republic superweapon meant to annihilate the Mandalorian fleet. The mass death caused by the weapon was so great that it created a wound in the Force centered on Malachor V, a wound that was made worse by the Traus Academy, an abandoned stronghold of the ancient Sith that lay at the heart of the planet. During the Jedi Civil War, the Sith had used Malachor V as a secret stronghold, sending captured Jedi there to be broken. When Korriban fell, it was there that the Sith regrouped. At Malachor V, the Sith came under the rule of the three greatest Sith Lords to emerge from the ashes of Revan's Empire: Darth Sion, Darth Nihilus, and Darth Traya.
Darth Nihilus. Okay.
Sion was the self-proclaimed Lord of Pain, a Sith marauder who was able to survive any wound
Lord of
through the
Pain,
use
Lord
of
of
the
Hunger,
dark side.
and I forgot
His
what
body
Trey
was
was.
covered in innumerable scars, and his bones had been shattered thousands of times. But he quite literally held himself together through the Force, drawing on his constant pain to survive. Sion was a committed Jedi hunter, the leader of a sect of assassins looking to wipe out the Jedi. Darth Nihilus, the Lord of Hunger, was a walking wound in the Force, an extension of Malachor that had been created when the planet died. He was a black hole in the Force, more of an entity than a living being, and he consumed all life around him, killing with his mere presence. He was motivated by constant hunger for the Force, and he was capable of consuming entire planets at a time. Nihilus was the master of a fleet of wrecked ships that he tore from the gravity well at Malachor V, crewed by half-living Sith troopers that became mere extensions of his will. But in the Sith Triumvirate that formed in the Traus Academy, both Sion and Nihilus were junior partners, the apprentices of Darth Traya, the Lord of Betrayal. Once,
the
she
Lord
had been
of
a
Betrayal.
Jedi Master, and long ago, she had trained Revan himself in the ways of the Force. She'd been exiled by the Jedi and become enthralled by the teachings of the Sith in the Traus Academy, of which she became the Master. She trained Sion and Nihilus to have greater control over their abilities, and together with them, she oversaw the next stage of the old Sith Wars, the Dark Wars. Trey believed that Revan's Sith Empire had the wrong priority. The Republic, she claimed, was insignificant. To her and the other surviving Sith Lords, the only thing that mattered was destroying the Jedi. It was all that had ever truly mattered, they believed, for if the Jedi were destroyed, then the Sith would be forever victorious, no matter if the galaxy was ruled by a Republic or an Empire. Thus, the Sith Triumvirate abandoned the strategy of direct war against the Republic, instead choosing to wage a series of shadow wars to weaken it and destroy the Jedi. As part of this campaign, Nihilus and Sion carried out the first Jedi purge, seeking to wipe out the Sith's greatest enemies once and for all. After the end of the Jedi Civil War, there were barely 100 Jedi left in the galaxy, their numbers devastated by defections to the Sith and Revan's assassins. But the Triumvirate began quietly whittling away at even that 100. Sion and his assassins hunted down and slew dozens of Jedi, and wherever groups of Jedi gathered, Darth Nihilus came for them, sensing their presence through the Force and feeding on them and the planets where they gathered. In 3952 BBY, what remained of the Jedi Order gathered on the planet Qatar to try and determine what was attacking them, only for them to draw out Nihilus. He consumed Qatar, killing the Jedi and all other life on the planet. The Jedi Order ceased to exist.
Oh my god.
Those few that remained went into exile, unwilling to endanger others with their presence. With the Jedi destroyed, however, the Sith Triumvirate splintered. Nihilus and Sion allied against Traya, cutting her off from the Force and exiling her, each proclaiming themselves the new Dark Lord of the Sith. They then went their separate ways, dividing the Sith remnants between them as they hunted down the last of the Jedi. As Nihilus and Sion sought to win their war with the Jedi, Darth Traya, taking up the name Kreia, sought out Meetra Surik, a Jedi exile who had lost her connection to the Force in the Battle of Malachor V. Kreia's fall had led her to become disillusioned with the Sith as well as the Jedi. Indeed, she'd begun to hate the Force itself. In Surik, Kreia saw someone who was strong enough to live without the Force, and she hoped to get the exile to agree with her newfound views. But Kreia wasn't the only one looking for the exile. Sion and Nihilus believed her to be the last Jedi, and they sought to kill her and finish off the Jedi once and for all. Sion chased Kreia and the exile to Paragus too. They managed to escape his grasp and flee the system. As Sion tried to stop them from escaping Paragus, he ignited the system's volatile asteroid belt, destroying the entire planet in an enormous chain reaction. This endangered the Telos Restoration Project, which was vital to the Republic's continued existence. Telos, which had been destroyed by the Sith during the Jedi Civil War, was a test to see if destroyed worlds could be terraformed back to life, and the future of the Republic depended on the success of its restoration project. Unfortunately, Telos was entirely dependent on Paragian fuel, and after the destruction of Paragus, the future of the project was uncertain. To make matters worse, Nihilus's faction of the Sith had allied with General Vaklu of Onderon, a power-hungry man who wanted to overthrow his cousin, Queen Talia of Aziz, and secede from the Republic. Knowing that the secession of Onderon would both severely weaken the Republic and make it an easy target for his hunger, Nihilus secretly backed Vaklu's secession efforts. He sent troops under a team of Sith Masters to the tomb of Freedom Nad on Duxon, where they carried out an arcane ritual that allowed the Sith to take control of the beasts of Onderon. When Vaklu made his move and civil war erupted on Aziz, the Sith led these beasts into battle alongside Vaklu's troops. Queen Talia didn't stand a chance, and if Onderon fell, neither did the Republic. However, the Sith's attempts to destabilize the Republic were ultimately thwarted by Meetra Surik. After escaping Paragus, she set out to find the surviving Jedi Masters and convince them to unite against the Sith, gathering allies and stopping Sith plots along the way. Darth Nihilus sent his apprentice, Visas Ma, to assassinate the exile, but Visas ended up switching sides and joining the exile instead. Surik found solutions to many of Telos' problems and intervened in the Onderon Civil War, bringing about the defeat of General Vaklu and Nihilus' troops. She also confronted Darth Sion on Korriban, though their battle proved inconclusive. Unbeknownst to Surik, however, she was playing into Kreia's hands the whole time. When she gathered the surviving Jedi Masters on Dantooine, Kreia revealed her identity as Darth Traya and killed them all. She convinced the sole surviving Jedi Master, Atris, to embrace the dark side, and then gave Nihilus a false tip about a Jedi Academy on Telos. The exile and her allies raced to Telos just as Nihilus' fleet began an attack on the planet. Telos seemed doomed, but beyond all hope, Meetra Surik managed to save the day once more. She defeated and apprehended Atris, led the allies she had gathered along the way in a desperate defense of Telos, and then she and Visas boarded Nihilus' flagship, the Ravager. There, Nihilus tried to consume Surik, but he found himself unable to touch her due to her severance from the Force. With Visas' help, Surik then attacked and destroyed the Lord of Hunger. With Telos safe and the Republic's future secure, Surik and her allies travelled to Malachor V to stop Kreia, who sought to amplify the wound in the Force there to cut off the galaxy from the Force. Surik single-handedly fought her way through the Trace Academy, which Kreia had usurped control of. She convinced Darth Sion to end his cycle of pain and embrace death, and then confronted and defeated Kreia. Surik then ordered the reactivation of the mass shadow generator, which destroyed Malachor V for good and cleansed the wound in the Force there. Between the Battle of Telos and the destruction of Malachor V, the last remnants of Revan's Sith Empire were destroyed, and by 3950 BBY, the Dark Wars were over. Yet again, the Republic and the Jedi had won against all odds, but Surik's journey and the fight against the Sith didn't end at Malachor. As Malachor broke apart, Meetra Surik travelled into the unknown regions in search of Revan himself. There, she discovered that though Malachor V was no more and the Sith Empire had ceased to exist, the threat of the dark side still remained. Because the Masters of the Jedi Council had been right all those years ago. There had been something darker behind the Mandalorian Wars, an evil force waiting for the Jedi to come and find it. Before they began their own crusade against the Republic, Revan and Malak had discovered it, and all Revan had done had been in preparation for it. His campaign was just a foretaste of the real war, a war of belief that had been going on for thousands of years, and he had fought to harden the galaxy against an evil beyond comprehension.
Whoa.
Because the Sith, the true Sith, were waiting in the dark. They had been biding their time for over 1,000 years. But as Malachor 5 broke apart, their return was near at hand. Revan had left to fight them, and the exile went to join him, but not even they could prevent the war that was to come.
As always, that was a great video. So, man, I mean, before we begin, I want to ask you guys, out of the 3 Siths in the Sith Triumvirate, which one is your favorite? I mean, like, for me, I mean, like, it's really hard to choose because I'm like, I have favorites for different reasons. Like, one, Darth Sion. So technically he can't die because his body's literally just shattered and destroyed, but he's holding himself together. So if he just gets wounded or anything severe, he could just heal himself and hold them together. That is literally amazing. Darth Nihilus, as you saw, like, can consume literally anything, planets, people, everything. So basically, I mean, like, with the power like that, he is literally unstoppable. And not only that, like, it mentioned in there, like, when he had like a small fleet of like half-dead Sith were like controlling him, he was the one controlling the half-dead Sith, so he's able to control and consume so much. And what I like about Darth Traya is the fact that she's able to wield 3 lightsabers and 3 purple lightsabers. Mace Windu will be jealous. 3 purple lightsabers without even holding them, just like using the Force to like wield them. And for me personally, that is literally cool. I mean, it's amazing. And I also know her like special ability, how like she's able to like cut off certain people from the Force completely. And if that happens, like the most powerful Jedi or Sith could literally be just useless. So that's what I like. But if I really had to choose one of the 3, I'm gonna go with Darth Nihilus. Not only that, his mask looks really cool, and the fact that he's just like a floating entity, like, because there's no physical form. He's literally just a force, like as he mentioned, a black hole just consuming everything. So that is, I say he would be my favorite out of the 3. So who's your favorite, guys? So make sure to comment down below. But anyways, this was another amazing video, and I'm really excited to see the next one. So again, thank you guys for watching, and hope you enjoyed my reaction to this video because I really enjoyed watching it. And keep an eye out for more content, and also check out my other videos I have on my channel. And again, thank you guys so much for your guys' continued support in this channel. It's amazing to see, and I hope you guys are having an amazing day or night wherever you guys are, and I'll see you guys next time.